also went off, which is all the way downstairs. So I was fucked.
Oh, that'll do her. We're back from outer space.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, we had a bit of a technical glitch there, lost power, but hopefully you all can still see everything, can reconnect here and get everything shaped back out. Just give us a few moments. Be sure to refresh, even though I guess if you can hear me telling you to refresh, you probably already are refreshed.
What, Yoda, what do you mean, refresh what? I was in the middle of a story, Yoda.
You're so long-winded.
I mean, it's true. That's the benefit of being a god. And thank you, I am indeed long-bearded. As I was saying, we went down into the depths of this fortress and fought those creatures. I've slayed some old champion, friend, father, I'm not quite sure. To be honest, I was too busy betting with Cinder on the side of how long it would take him to murder this creature. And, well, I've murdered him quicker than I thought he would. Cinder, of course, being the ever-odds betting man, got it directly right on the head. So after we slew that creature, we went deeper into this kingdom of mines and found that no-good, dirty Mishasha bitch sitting on a throne, all pretentious, thinking she could buy us off. I thought for maybe a second Cinder would give in to his carnal temptations of bathing in gold and platinum, but of course that was no option for Ivar or myself or Yoda. Well, probably even Desmond too. You'd be surprised. As we fought our way through the monstrosities that Desmond's cousin created for this demon bitch. Some of them very large, and of course I slew them all by myself, with help of others. But of course Desmond and the rest slayed the harpy-looking things with wings and powerful claws and crazy speed, as Mishasha escaped deeper into her throne room. We of course followed in pursuit and were tried to be stopped by some scary shadow creatures. To be fair, I don't really know what happened to them. I think we killed them all. And Yoda used powerful magic to destroy some kind of altar in front of us as Mishasha ran away into the depths of her true kingdom, the Nine Hells. We, of course, followed in pursuit, because when you're chasing a devil, sometimes they have to go down to the Nine Hells. And as we entered the Nine Hells, let me tell you, it was toasty and a bit sandy. But that was fine. As we began combat with that stupid devil bitch, she summoned some kind of ooze with tentacles. Of course, they tried to hold myself and Ivar, but you know better than that. You can't hold either of us. The god of war and the god of conquest cannot be restrained. As we fought on, slaying this creature, as our dear friend Cinder turned into a dragon, as Tomin ran around on his ice skates, Desmond firing shots from cover, as the bitch continued to run away from me, with my little legs not being able to catch up very frequently. And as we slayed her in one form, she turned into another, I believe some kind of cat, perhaps a cheetah, a lion, or possibly a tiger. She summoned that stupid puppet mastery bitch that I buried under the ground that Yoda set on fire, as she came back, and we made quick work of her, as she was slain relatively quickly, and Mishasha was in fear of her life, as we slayed yet another image and rendition of her. She turned into, I think, one of the more attractive versions, a giant fucking beast with 4 arms, 4 swords, and truthfully great facial hair. But she was yet afraid again, as she summoned her former general, the Pit Fiend. Toman, seeing him weakened and quite pissed off, managed to pretty much slay him in one go. It's quite magnificent, really. I mean, impressive work for such a small creature as Toman. Truly a master of his craft. As she began to shoot lightning bolts from herself, one of them struck our dearest friend Cinder, pinning him to the ground, dead. Luckily, throughout the battle, Yolder covered us in her great mantle of protection. Ivar swung and injured the beast and allowed me to jump up and cut off its fucking head. Now you would think, after 3 renditions of this creature, she will be dead. Head cleaved from her body, forms destroyed, but no! This bitch truly was the master of her realm. As soon the sand began to climb around us, surrounding us and trying to pin us within itself. A giant head of a lion creeped through the sand with giant claws of purple sand. One of them attempting to strike myself, and another scraping Yolder across this realm, as our hero Ivar stood, ready to fight this creature in what we would hope, and would soon later find out, its final form. As Ivar began, he readied himself with great tactic, as he pulled out a creation that only the Forge of Yolder could have created. As he threw this giant glorious javelin, guided by my ever-steady hand, plucking out the eye of Mishasha. And yet this foul creature still did not fall. Luckily, we were able to get Cinder back alive, and he was covering us and shooting things, as we eventually slew the great Mishasha in her realm, that she may never rise again. As Yolder celebrated the victory alongside Ivar, we came across the great and glorious relic of the olden times. I believe Yolder called it the heart of her god, Hephaestus himself. In all of its gilded goldenness, she said she could hear the beating deep within her chest. As luckily we were able to transport away from that place, we found ourselves back in the throne room. And finally surrounded by all the things that Cinder loves, a bit of a brawl began to form, as Ivar wanted to use this treasure to rebuild the former Trade Prince Kingdom of the Pits. Luckily and tactfully, the great Lannister himself was able to stop the bickering and remind them, the Outriders, of what a great accomplishment they had done on this day. Not only freeing an entire kingdom of tyranny and slavery, but fucking killing that no-good stinking devil bitch in her own house, in her own realm, that she'd never come back again. And now we stand around counting coin, bickering among ourselves of what will we do next, as the great Outriders begin to realize it's only a short 6 months until that creature, 5 months, that creature of fucking Karsith tries to destroy their home and the true heart of the realm of Heartclaim. Who knows what they'll do? Perhaps they'll go and find the gods in Elysium, rebuild a kingdom, get married, possibly go to the Earth realm and find himself a giant worm mount and ride off into the heavens and slay his son. Who knows what Lannister and the Outriders may get into this week on The Expanse.
Oh yeah, good shit. You're supposed to be of inspiration for, I'm assuming, future use.
Don't need it.
Well, good shit then. Thank you, Jeff.
You're very welcome.
As indeed, you guys come back with a large amount of loot. As you've noticed, Cinder's investigation through this place, this is not all there is. There are several other rooms with chests just like this filled with gold to the point where it could make anyone rich beyond their wildest dreams. That and magical items galore within this hall. But there is an army waiting outside, and a nation that's bitterly crippled through all of this. A place that was nothing but sin and horrible catastrophes, now purged, but still weakened by the removal of that sickness. So, we move on. As you all start to gather your money, taking a little bit of time, but thankfully many of you actually have magical items that are able to hold vast quantities of gold, and especially Yolder seeming to find something of particular interest that may or may not be used for the cause. Doesn't really seem to be necessary for hauling this gold, but so have you. And as you make your exit, though, unless there's something in particular you want to do while still within these halls.
What are you talking about? What'd I find?
The portable hole?
Oh, yeah. That is there, isn't it? Just shove all the gold into it.
Has anybody seen those axes?
What? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
The axes look like I could throw them.
Guys, I'm really tired. Cinder, are you done yet? Here you go, Alistair.
What?
There's the axes. They do cool stuff. You might like them.
Wait, what do they do? As I feverishly look through all the folders trying to figure out where the hell these things are.
They're in your folder.
They're under your stuff.
Oh, I was looking for like...
Because they're made for you.
So, you know...
The
didn't
GM
expect it to
making
be an
items for players? That's crazy talk.
Oh shit, that means I've got to create this on my character sheet. I'll be back in 15 to 20 minutes, hold on.
Lou's passed out. And hoarded, I suppose. Maybe future discussions will still need to be had on exactly how it's distributed and how it's handled, but the final part of that fight, the magic that Mishasa pulled forth to almost pull the life directly out of your bodies, affecting some of you more than others. Toman especially seems just almost dead on his feet, exhausted. And, well, again, unless there's anything else you need to do here, you can head back up and find the people waiting for you. Or you could just, if anybody has the magic left, teleport away to the top.
Oh, you didn't even put a weight limit on this. It's just volume.
That's what portable hole is.
I could have sworn it had.
So let's just push everything inside of it.
Yeah, I will totally suggest doing that. Because I don't know if we could carry all of this out so easily.
Alright.
Oh, I thought we were just going to leave it down here. Since this is, I guess, technically Ivar's mansion. Where are we?
We're in the upper reaches. God, what is yours voice? We're in the upper reaches of Mishasa's pins, aren't we? Like towards the, I want to say northeast.
It's not technically mine yet.
You're just southeast of the Blood Claw circles, actually relatively close to the cliffs that head down. Yeah.
Now comes the hard part.
Wait, this wasn't the hard part?
The easy part was killing. Now comes bureaucracy.
Oh, I fucking hate bureaucracy.
We'll see what...
Type.
No, I am not. We'll see what my friends in high places have in mind for what's going to happen next.
On the bright side, we could tell Laura to stop hiding.
Oh, Laura is really good at bureaucracy.
I will have to talk with the Mistwalkers.
Wait. Laura's with the Mistwalkers.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I miss her. How is she doing?
I haven't been in contact with them for a month.
Oh, makes sense.
I mean, that's what you have me for. I have Sydney. Do I have any thoughts? I mean, I could do it tomorrow.
I have
No
contact
contact
magic
me.
left.
The Mistwalkers are strange with their ways. They will seek they are not ones to get solved out of.
Okay. But, again, I'm really tired. Are we done?
Yes,
I'm gonna push
the
the
fighting is
stuff
over.
into the pole.
Yeah, just like unfurl.
So we all just like shoveling gold and platinum just into the hole.
Just take Cinder's beautifully orchestrated piles and just dishevel them into this.
And then just to shovel them into a giant
Just
pile.
destroy his gold castles.
Cinder just looks at all the gold into a pile and then contemplates joining the hole. And then just sleeping on the gold pile.
Hey, I scooped my section into my bag, so you guys can, mess up the sand castle all you want.
I think your section weighs more than 500 pounds.
Cinder.
And I will drag it around 1 inch by 1 inch all the way back to town.
Cinder, I appreciate you counting the gold. I know how much pleasure it brings to you, but I don't think I could count that high, so I appreciate it.
I've had practice every day of my life.
Alright. You guys get your treasure, unless you're teleporting out. Start making your way back up topside.
Yeah, just fold the portable hole back up, and I have plenty of spell slots, so I'm totally gonna reach out to what's her name?
Ashram Ka.
No, Laura, obviously. No, yeah, Ashram Ka. As ask what the situation is outside, and if she's landed the ship, so we can get on.
Everything seems to have stopped. There was fighting further out in the fields, skirmishes and the like, but I think it's all over now. I'll land immediately. Everyone's waiting for you.
Alright, seems like everything seems to be okay outside. There was some more skirmishes, but everyone seems to have stopped fighting, and they're just waiting for us.
Ivor, do you want to give the speech outside, or do you want me to give the speech? I mean, it is your victory, but they are the men of Tyr.
I'll be fine.
So, does that mean you're going to give the speech?
Yes.
Sounds good.
As you guys start to head back up, and indeed, as you start to descend up into the strange cavern, that purple glow still lighting the area, although it seems like the stones that glue in a strange color are slowly starting to dim. Some of them almost completely have lost their light. The whole place just seems awfully quiet from what you've remembered. You almost thought you remember there being some strange hum in the air, or a whisper, or just the flow of wind. But now, nothing. Just quietness. And then you start to descend steps even more, heading to the surface. Very quickly, as the light starts to pour down the stairs, you realize you start to hear the clattering of metal, people talking, and not so hushed tones as when you start to make it to the top, start to show yourselves, you hear the very quick, hold on, everyone, over here. as you start to descend and you start to see men gathering more and more and more as paladins start to step forward in your direction with expecting looks on their faces.
As I cast thaumaturgy on myself, I said, men, women, heroes of the realm, the great Ivar has a message for all of you to hear. Alright, Ivar, I'll prep the crowd for you. You're good to go.
Thanks. Oh, it just feels the weariness of the rest of the day sort of pour onto him. Raises his hands to the sky. Mishasa is no more. We have traveled far into hells you would not imagine. In a final stand that only legends could tell, and the bards will sing of for 8. We have slain the devil, Mishasa, in her very home, vanquished forever. I thank you all, and the fallen, for your sacrifice, and the blood that you shed.
And it is done then! Finally, after so many years! To Ivar! To the Outriders! Hoorah! As you just hear a cheer go up through the crowd as this one paladin steps forward, gives out the shout as it just starts to spread. Hoorah! 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 Throughout the crowd, as you can see injured and whole alike standing and looking with just glee in their eyes. So much death around this place. But it seems to finally be over. As the paladins start to walk towards you. 4 in total. You see the Griffin Riders behind them, staying on their mounts, but watching. As the one you saw before, the one man that witnessed what you and fake Lannister did, Paladin Torres. Ivar, I thank you for all that you've done, but our people, those of the Holy Lands, this crusade was set off to end the life of that horrible creature. But we lay no claim to this place. We are not conquerors. We are here to liberate and none else. If you require aid in the coming days, we will assist. But we make no claim on these lands. If you wish, you will have our backing for what little it means when it comes to the other trade princes. And I understand that there was a deal between Commander Hawthorne and your group. I understand what you did. Now, it is a horrible sacrifice to lose the commander. But it did bring about the end of this creature, and I'm sure if she was told that putting an end to all this meant a forfeiture of her life, she would have agreed. Looks over to Lannister. I know now the one that truly did the deed is not with us here now. And I do hate to admit it, but I do not want to see her again. You may have driven the blade, but she was the one. You know she forced Hawthorne's hand, you not. I understand why it had to happen, but to rob her of her own will, was there really no other way? He just looks at you with a stern face.
Oh my.
Sacrifices must be made. But I am not a demon. I will make good on my promise. If you would like to witness it.
You would bring her back.
Of course we'll bring her back.
My word is law.
It has been over a month. How could you do such a thing?
We have slain a devil in the 9 hells, Paladin. We are capable of much more than you could imagine.
As some of you notice, a lone soldier walking up from behind Ivar, and you can see the paladin right next to her, as it seems like a female soldier, doesn't even take notice of her as she approaches. As Ivar, you hear a whisper behind your shoulder. If you are ready, she is prepared. Within the circles, within that meeting room where it has all started, she has been readied for you. Just return there, and your promise will be upheld.
Do a short nod, hopefully not noticeable by everyone, keeping in the clandestine nature of her whisper.
She gives a nod back. You can see this strange scar across her cheek. She just starts to step back in rank and file. And again, strangely enough, these other soldiers don't really seem to notice. She falls back in line. They all continue watching. The paladins in front of you, still just looking at you, with Torres in front, a strange, bewildered look on his face. But I understand. If anyone can, I suppose it would be you.
Not me personally. Well, actually, I suppose it can.
And lead the way. As Hawthorne is a treasure to our people, I would love to see her safe again.
Then come! Let us feast and be merry on this day. Refresh yourself. We have a journey ahead of us.
As Torres nods at you and turns. You hear the man! This battle is over and won! The crusade is over, and we are victorious! Devil is dead, and this land is rid of her taint. Return to your commanders. Receive your orders. For in the morning, we march home. He turns to the other paladins at his sides and looks at them. And we will accompany you. Feast sounds wonderful.
Mm.
And with that, the crowd starts to disperse a bit. You can see the rank and file soldiers starting to group around the knights, which seem to be giving orders to basically reform their troops, gain their supplies, tend to the wounded, and make plans to camp out and then leave within the morning. As it seems like it's done. All of this. Unless anyone wants to do anything, have anything to say, want to confer anything with each other or the paladins, the night passes You're given some rest, and in the morning you can ride by airship back to the Bloodclaw Circles, where this hunt began about a month ago. Within that mansion, the only really standing place of any real importance in the city, and where apparently Miss Hawthorne resides, has Toman cast Slow.
Tell you to slow down, baby.
But I'll grab some time with Yoda and Ava and I'll say, hey, I want to be the one that brings Jade back.
It's my responsibility.
I mean, it's your responsibility, sure. You just ordered me to do it and I'll do it.
And I'm ordering you to not do it.
Come on, Ivar.
Yeah,
Unless you killed that bitch.
Did you refer to her as bitch?
I think she's talking about Sasha, not Jade.
Ava, you are capable of so much, but even now, to grant Jade life.
I am also a source of divine power, just as you are.
If you do not need me to confer the boons of Hephaestus onto this woman, you shall do so, then I will not ask Hephaestus for those gifts. It is best, since this is your debt, for you to pay it. I must say, these last few weeks have made me see a very different side of you. One I was not sure was there. Suffice to say, I am proud of you, Ivar. As Wilbur goes to her quarters unless stopped or asked for something.
Alright. As you swith on the ship, travel back, the next day arriving within the Bloodclaw Circles, making your way to that mansion. Hashim Khan lets you off in the courtyard as you did before, and walking into that great hall where you met Mishasa countless times, Ivar, over the last month, you see her. A simple table set up at the base of a small rise, and a strange woman standing next to her in quite drab clothing, well worn, staff in one hand, and a strange scar across her face. You have arrived. She is ready. As she nods and steps back away from you. As you see, most of the paladins hang back a bit, but Paladin Torres walking. You can see those of higher perception and insight notice he goes a bit pale. You can see ever slight clenching of his fist. You can hear the creak of metal in his hands as he walks with.
Zyvar puts a hand under her head to help support it, and with the other one, strokes her face.
Lannister grabs the other arm.
Okay, stop.
Hold on, Ivar. As he just grabs the choke of his beard. and pulls it out and slaps 1,000 GP dharma in his hand.
Thanks.
And I let go of his arm.
Alright, just to check. So, in case I need to retcon something, they have been casting Gentle Riposte on her, right?
It has been a month, and Jade looks like the day you last spoke to her.
Right.
The wound has been tended to and mended. Even her clothes and armor have been mended, where there seems to be no sign of any wounds. She almost seems like she's sleeping. Just there's no rise and fall in her abdomen.
Mm-hmm. Ivar takes one hand and sort of strokes her cheek with the thumb. As his words begin to be enchanted, the same sort of magic that Yolder and Lannister would be familiar with, weaving it within his words. Although in a sort of lower voice, it's time to come back, my dear sister. Come back to me. I'm sorry for what I did. Will you forgive me? As I cast, as Zoran, he's like speaking this sort of sweet nothings, trying to coax her soul back into, sort of trying to lead the way with his voice. A voice that the party doesn't really know that he's trying to mimic from a time before. As he casts a little bit, raise dead.
Oh yeah. As you take this diamond, place your hand upon her, using this magic to reach out and try to find the life that used to be in this body, and you don't have to search far, as it never left. It almost seems like that very moment Laura was by your side, did not give it but even a moment to pass, and this life has been just beneath the surface all this time, and kept there by, well, someone tending to her. And with a flash, just a piece of the magic that you needed, the life fills her body once again. You can see her cheeks start to turn pink as blood starts to flow again. She breathes, her eyes not yet open.
While that's happening, Ivar takes off his helm and looks over at Jade and smiles widely.
She weakly opens her eyes. You can see they don't quite focus all the way as she looks up at you. Ivan? What?
Hello, Jade. You've been sleeping.
I guess we finally get to meet again, brother.
How do you feel? He sort of moves his hand to where he stabbed his sword into.
I don't. What are we supposed to feel like when we're dead?
I've been there, and I can say I didn't feel anything. As he sort of looks to Lannister, it felt like nothing.
See haze starting to leave her face. Ben, I don't. What?
You think someone as risky as me hasn't died before?
She finally starts to look around, looking at your face and then down at the armor, and just confusion washes over her face. Then looking over at Lannister, you.
It's a lot to take in, I know. Everything will be explained. Calm down.
Jade! As Lannister, you just feel a shove by your shoulder as this man passes by. What? What are you doing? Oh, my head! As this man rushes to the far side of this table, and you can see him just grab onto her. Jade, I'm so sorry. Philip, stop.
Sapphire puts back his out.
Stop. Stop. I'm alright. As she starts to rise from the table, pushing her legs off to one side, not quite coming to her feet, but sitting on the table before you, as Paladin Torres lets go of his grip. You can see just a tear running down the side of his face. What? You have a lot of explaining to do. We all thought you were dead. What is this?
Welcome to the harsh reality. Or I suppose welcome back. It's all over.
What do you mean it's over? The crusade?
You've been dead for a month. It's all over.
I don't know. I swear to the gods, if this is a trick, if this is your doing, and she holding her head, but Lannister, you can see her eyes shoot out from underneath her hand, staring just death into.
No. It's fine. It was a ploy. It wasn't me. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be just fine.
Your boyfriend will explain everything. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Indeed. Hand Ivor a message.
Oh,
So many tests have been passed so far. You are truly a champion, but your task, what she has built you for, has not yet been completed. She looks forward to the day where you stand before it. And we do hope for your success.
I do look forward to destroying your betrayer.
I'm sure she will love to hear the news of your victory. But she just bows her head and starts to walk out past all of you.
Don't stop her.
Why?
If she wants to be spoken to, she will let you. The Mistwalkers seek, they will not be sought out. That is a lesson I learned from Laura.
She just stands in front of you, Laura, somewhat of a bent figure, her back bent over, almost huddled up on this staff, her cloak just wrapped over the front of her head. She's a decent bit shorter than you, as you can't get a good look on her face, although you do see just the underside of her cheek and that scar that remains. She just sits with you in the way, just waiting.
Is she going to be coming back, Ivor?
How busy has Laura been, if I may pry? She's already grown distant, even to me during that month.
That is for her to reveal when she deems the time right. Although, who's to say that will be in this life?
You all do not speak plainly, and it is equally frustrating no matter the person.
As our great mistress Liara tells it. She nods at you, her cloak shrinking, rising as she just walks. You open the way for her as she slowly makes her way for the exit.
Get some rest, Jade. You're gonna need your strength.
I do want a nap, but you are not getting away from this. We have a lot to talk about. It's been so constant. If I knew I'd have such a damn bad headache like this, I would never have died in the first place. You owe me one, you son of a bitch. Ah! As Paladin walks around, come, please. Please, Jade, come. As he takes her by the shoulder, he looks up at you, Ivor. She never deserved this, but I thank you nonetheless.
I considered it, but there's nothing that works on that. You just fucked.
Alright, as with that, Jade is seen to another room within this building to rest, as she does not seem to be in a good way. You know the nature of that magic. It is powerful, meant to bring someone back from the death, and although maybe such strong magic wasn't necessary, certainly made sure that she was not going to escape this mortal coil yet. And, yeah, after just one day of rest, she doesn't seem to be in great position, but she does come to speak to you, and she just wants to know why. Through all of this, the time you went missing, everyone thought you were dead, to the time you reappeared, and why all this secrecy, and why didn't you tell her? And just on and on and on, as your sister, Jade Hawthorne, truly did miss her big brother through all of this. And days start to go by. She starts to rest. Some of you resting yourselves, as the exhaustion seems to need a couple of days to completely be washed away. But with that, downtime somewhat starts.
Yeah, during those couple of days while everyone's trying to recuperate, I try to get in contact with her in some way, shape, or form.
Indeed.
Just like ASAP. That means like...
As you start to try to use magic, try to send out messengers to find her, easily enough, she actually shows herself to you. At your footstep, not but 2 days within, and someone else appears with a letter. A distinguished man, seemed to be a half-elf, with a generous smile and an invitation. As it seems like, as Hana seemed like she was about to tell you about, as you started to read the letter, you've been invited to the markets. A meeting between the trade princes. With the fall of one of their four, well, something had to be done, and for the one who slew her, an invitation is given for Pantheon and his companions that apparently have slain Mishasa and driven the pins into chaos. You're invited for 2 days, or within 2 days, to meet within the markets at the mansion of the caretaker of the markets. A man known as somewhat of a neutral entity in all of this. Name is, let's see if I can find it, Aurier. Some of you may have heard the name before. He is basically the reigning noble in the markets, not really affiliated with any of the trade princes, but it is under his guidance that the place stays new.
He's the Machiavelli of this world. That's cool. That guy from The Matrix that was also French. It was like his restaurant was neutral ground in the weird cyber world. I don't know. Made me think of that.
So basically the next thing that's happening on the list of to do is the meeting with the trade princes. You're all invited, obviously, but Pantheon in particular by name. And unless there's anything you need to do within the next 4 days after this meeting, 2 days after everybody's been recuperated at this point, we'll move on to that.
Nope, I got stuff I gotta do. I gotta take care of this finally. Yeah.
Take care of what?
I gotta take care of something in my closet. It's been sitting there, been casting general repose on it for like months.
Fucking literal skeletons in your closet.
He's still a dude, it's fine.
The skeleton, he's just got flesh and skin and stuff on top of it.
We're all skeletons underneath. As probably the same day that this happened, I'd go up to the airship and take care of this problem. Slap him with a little raised dead. Getting up that assassin.
Yep. You can go back up to the airship, find the man tucked away within your quarters. Thankfully enough, your magic is powerful and it can hold for quite a while, and you've had plenty of opportunities to make sure that he does not rot away, and he's still there. With a pull of your magic, it's somewhat like I described before. The remainder of that life just right beneath the surface, as it seems like shortly after his death, his soul was held in place for future use, being held there, not allowed to leave, as he comes back to life.
Seeing him return to life, immediately my hand is on his chest, pushing down on it. Do not move. Our bargain must be sanctified. You are to use your gifts to help others. You are not to harm anyone that does not deserve it. By the laws of the Holy Lands.
You can see his body start to vibrate violently, and although you press on his chest, he is reaching up to the back of his neck.
I use my other arm to grab his other arm.
And as you grab his arm, you pull away, and his skin comes with it. And you can see the soul placed back in this vessel. It starts to change. When you pull away the skin, you expect to look back and just see gore left on his arm. But you don't. You see that slick, gray, almost leather-like material underneath. As you can see, this man, his skin is starting to peel and fall away, revealing that strange, almost featureless puppet underneath. But for now, he is shaking violently. His body is peeling away to this thing, but there's still life in him, at least for now, with his life forced back into his body. But whatever kind of body this was, without that string, that thing that holds him within this, it seems like his body is failing, and you can't help but remember the memory of that place next to where you saw me, Shoss, on that throne, and that pile of featureless dolls in the corner. You think you only have but a moment or so before whatever was keeping this thing alive falls.
All right, Hail Mary. I pull in the magic of Geas and call for Toman if he's on the ship.
What are you doing? What is this?
You hear the calling as you start to get close to the oldest room. You just hear this like coming from a room.
Like his life force is just ebbing away, or like is it just literally the physical body?
I mean, it looks like he's having a seizure, and his skin is just peeling all over. Wherever you're touching him, it looks like the skin is just ripping and falling apart. You can feel, as you press on his chest, that your hand is like slipping ever so slightly. Like there's a slick material in between it, and it's just sliding around on his body.
What are you doing?
Stop describing. I'm good. Thanks.
Having crazy sex in the room. It's all good.
No, I want to hear more.
Yeah.
Upgrade.
Describe it. Describe how slick it is.
No.
Yeah.
But again, no gore or anything.
Healing magic would buy me more time.
You could try.
As like Tobin comes in, 3rd level cure wounds. Toman, I misunderstood this soul's vessel. It is one of those puppets, as I try to pour healing magic into it and try to slow this degeneration down.
Yeah, you can see as there's wounds upon his body, the way he died originally by you guys' hands. You can see the skin, not the skin repair, but the wounds themselves. As the skin breaks apart and reveals that puppet underneath, the wounds still remain on the puppet, and those start to stitch together. It's mending this living vessel, but this process doesn't really seem to be stopping. It seems like this thing, without that string, without that connection, just cannot hold whatever magic was keeping this thing a thing, and not just a motionless puppet. As you do mend it, it does seem like, if for whatever reason he was in combat, he could continue fighting longer, but that's not the nature of what's making this thing fail.
What the fuck?
I'll explain. Can you, with all of your gifted talents, inter this man's soul?
No, what?
I do not know what it is you are capable of, Toman. I hoped that you would have something. As I tried to...
Do you need me to move his soul? Do you need me to... What's happening to its body, I guess?
I don't... pull him out of this body and put him somewhere else.
Where's that drum?
I don't know. Didn't your boyfriend take it? Go get it. Go get him.
Oh my fucking god. Fine, I guess I go run to wherever Desperate is on the ship and find the drum.
Hey!
Have him
Run
bring
in
the
the
harpy as
holes,
well.
Tobin. Slow down.
You run into Desmond's room, as he seems to also be sleeping off the exhaustion at this point. It's the same day. As you can see, off by the bedstand, there's the drum and large harpy, sort of curled up in a ball in the corner to not take up too much space, sort of sitting in the fetal position, obviously not moving, the light in its body. Desmond just rises from bed. Tell me, what's going on?
Hey, hi, I'm taking this pie. I took
okay.
the drum, and I guess use telekinesis on the body to lift it if it's not too heavy?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it weighs more than 1,000 pounds.
So I run back to the room.
So it
So you
runs
just
in with the drum, and then very shortly after, this body is just floating through the air behind.
Do you know how
You
this
can
thing
just see,
works?
half of this guy's face has just peeled away, and it's just this motionless doll on one side, and then just this scowling face on the.
You do not have much more time.
Wait. I have an idea.
It can't be any worse than what I'm dealing with.
True polymorphs the body into like a regular, like a tiefling.
The heartbeat?
No, the body that's falling apart.
You true polymorph?
Yeah.
Alright, as the living creature that is this strange doll, this assassin, you can see its body slowly starting to change. Where the doll was, now you can see it starts to turn red. That strange, lifeless leather that made up its body starts to change. Life and color starts to flow through it. And very quickly, you can see the hair around its forehead almost seems to start to stick out and solidify into these about 4-inch long horns jutting out of its forehead as its skin turns red. Its eyes, the pupils, start to dilate more and more and more until they encompass just the entire eye as they just go stark black completely as the shaking stops. What in the world? What is this?
Fix them.
I'm just looking back and forth between the guy I'm trying to hold down and Tobin and the guy I can't.
Your hand on his chest, he just raising up one hand. What in the world? I thought.
It seems.
What do you want now?
To fulfill my end of the bargain, but your master is dead. Her soul ripped asunder and gone from this and all other worlds. And you could not come back in your original form. Thankfully, we have seemed to have solved that problem. Now, to ensure your mindset changes along with it. As I begin casting Gaius at 8th level again.
As he goes to rub his head, you can feel just pain on his head, and then he touches the horn and starts to feel it. No, you can't. A puppeteer can't die. She'll just come back. What in the hell did you do?
We killed her in the 9 hells. She is never coming back.
I don't. So he just starts to stare at you. Its magic is coursing into him as the gaze starts to take effect. What are you doing? What? Stop! What? This wasn't what. What do you want?
You are a talented man, but you have used your gifts for the wrong things. With this, I will ensure that you put your talents to good use. For the betterment of the people.
Does he need to make a save?
Yeah, he has to make a wisdom save since he can understand me. He should have like -4 to it, and my DC. Let me roll the religion check.
I don't think he can succeed, most likely.
DC 20 -4.
Alright, let's see if he can roll a 24. Nope. So he's got a +0, so I don't think he could have made a 24. And your magic, you can see the weakened state of this man as he's just utterly confused about what's going on. He seems to recognize you. He seems to be aggravated by the situation, but he's mostly just... You can feel him just fidgeting with his body. You can see this strange tail flop out onto one side of him, and it's just rolling back and forth on the ground next to him. He looks at it. What's in the... Ah! As your magic takes hold, he tries to fight it for a second, but your magic is way too strong. As you're able to force his mind... What? And after just a moment of your magic taking place, he seems to understand what just happened, and you can feel his body just sort of go limp, ever so slightly underneath your hand pushing against it. Yes. So, you say you killed the puppeteer. Miss Shasta will have your head, and I suppose mine now, too.
Is my guess done?
Yep, it seems to have taken hold.
As my staff, just always stuck in the back of my armor, just begins to glow from its yellow to a bright, stark white, not too dissimilar from, the common trope of a detective swinging the lamp in front of your face kind of thing. As I call on a bit of magic, my favorite spell. It's just this area, along with Toman, and I guess if he's still here, it's just washed in white.
Charisma save. Nope. Not with the 9.
You're very uncharismatic. Tiefling. Mishasa is no more as well. She, along with her head general, along with everything that made Mishasa's pens Mishasa's, has been vanquished. This was our doing.
I thought I'd seen craziest things you could imagine. I suppose not, though. You speak true? Well, so what then? I've already given my life once. My actual life. This isn't even the first time I've been given a new body. So, what? You're my new master now or something?
Yes, he will start by cleaning the bathrooms. It's
No,
terrible,
this
and
is
they allowed
not
us to
the
just
case. I did not promise you a life of servitude underneath my heel. I promised you a life before my God, and you will have one. I have only compelled your will for a year, but you will not escape my gaze after that point. But for now, you are to head south from here. You have quite a ways to walk to... As I, know this man's talents and am quite familiar with the Holy Lands, where would I think he would best fit for what it is he's capable of doing?
Most likely in the pools of Umberley or Kellamvor's Cathedral. As a man with gifts of death, probably serve the gods that, guide those into death. Otherwise, Tyr's sanctum, unless he went in disguising who he is and what he can do, probably would not accept somebody of his ilk. And besides that, he doesn't seem very scholarly. Doesn't seem like he really wants to protect the natural order of things.
Gotcha.
So, an assassin? Yeah. Umberley, known as a goddess that is known for her ill temper. She's somewhat one the same with Talos, where one is the crushing sea, the other can be the raging storm. I guess serving under Talos would also work, but Talos usually serves more out in the open, those that are in the armies of Talos are known for their loudness, I guess. They announce themselves. They don't employ a ton of assassins. They are the ones that come and destroy cities in the name of Talos as corruption is purged. Where Pools of Umberlee certainly known to have the dangers lurking underneath the surface.
Tobin!
Fire door, help me, won't go anymore.
Tobin, what do you need? I heard you call my name.
I was not even the. Oh, God, he has that fucking earring thing.
Just come walking down the hall.
I closed the door before you get here.
You just see Tobin hurrying to close the door in your face. Oh shit! Oh, here coming!
Oh, Lord.
Just open the door. What? What do you need?
Lannister just barrels through the door.
Nothing, Lannister.
Okay. Oh, hi, Older. Hi, oldest friend.
You are to go south into the Holy Lands and serve in the pools of Umberlee. This compulsion will last a year, and hopefully in that time you will find new purpose. If after that point you, well, let's say slip into something unseemly, well, you will be taken care of. This, you have my word.
Understand. I don't mean to gripe about this, but a tiefling.
I mean, I just kind of
inconspicuous that you could have made me.
I kind of panicked, and we were facing fiends, and you were communing with the devil. It's kind of fitting.
Alright, I'll come up with something.
I mean, if you give me a day, I could probably change you into something different. Possibly. I'm not sure. I've only used the spell once.
It was not my intention for your form to change in this way. I say in the zone of truth because it totally wasn't. But it was that or lose your form forever, and I had no way to inter your soul in the meantime. So, well, hopefully you'll give tieflings a better reputation.
You can make your way over to Benchi. There's a lot of tieflings over there. Or are you only supposed to go? I don't know where you're going. This isn't ideal. Or just to walk away.
Thank you, Tommen. I could not have done this without you.
I know.
I'll do what you say. Not like I really have a choice in it, but you're really giving me a second chance.
Yes, and I am not so cruel as to send you out into the wilds naked either. Your state is probably less than ideal. You will wait here for a day or two, and I will make sure that you set off with decent preparations.
Yeah, you must be one of those saints or something people talk about, huh? You really... You know what I've done, right? I'm not... All of us. We sold our souls to do what we could. I ain't even gonna pretend that I'm due whatever you're giving me, but... I won't look a gift horse in the mouth, I suppose. Who are you, anyways?
Lady Yolda of the Iron Temple, you have been reforged in the fires of Hephaestus, and while you should not look this gift in the mouth, you also should not waste it. few get an opportunity as good as the one I'm giving you.
I understand.
As I also take out a sack and give him 1,155 gold. Here, make yourself busy and count this.
Alright. Again, I appreciate everything you're doing, but you're a damn nut job, aren't
you? Perhaps.
So he takes the bag, just this weird, weary look on his face looking at you.
As I'm just like standing there in battle armor with a fucking halo. Now be quiet, but also stand up. As I just like spend a bit of time with him during this day, and yeah, I'll make some cheap armor and a weapon of his choice. I'll basically give him rogue starting gear. I don't know if I can make an adventurer's kit out of literally gold, but I'll do it if I can.
Sure. You could find stuff around. There's plenty of daggers and shit laying around.
No,
Can that be my new character? Can I just be like resurrected and then some random blonde lady gives me all of my items?
If we play in Brendan's world again, you should just be this assassin. That'd be amazing. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's freaking weird, man. So, like, I was dead, right? And then I came back to life, and this golden-haired chick, like, she gave me a bunch of gold, some items, and expected me to just, like, be whole. But whenever I tried not to, I got this fucking headache, and it sucked. So I just stopped resisting.
He introduced himself as Andrew Dollars. At least that's who he was before. God, it's been 30 years or so since he started all this. Looking at himself, I mean, it's nice to be young again. And, yeah, after a couple days of recuperating, goes about his business. Unless there's something else you needed.
Yeah, we'd just probably just hold on to him until we take the airship to the market. Sure. He can buy a horse, though. He's more than enough gold. It'll be fine.
Yeah. And you know, if he kept any of the skills that he did, he was probably more than a match for anyone else out.
Man, he's like a CR7.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about him, right?
Probably not. People you fought within the plantation, even just the simple assassins. Yeah, any one of those could be the highest dollar people you'd need to hire, so he's got plenty of skills to pay.
Good. He can go make himself useful. Let me see. Let me check one thing before I end my little fuck up thing here.
I drop concentration and he chases back.
Just starts vibrating again, it falls apart.
I would also, unless you want to rule otherwise, I would also take a lock of his hair.
Sure.
Though I think I'm more than intimately familiar with him at this point. That way I can scry on him.
Sure. Easy enough. He ain't gonna fucking stop you.
Alright.
He does slit your throat in your sleep, though. So you are dead. Alright, so a couple days pass. You guys able to recuperate. Ivar, you've gotten an earful from your sister over the last couple days, and yeah, just a duration of fucking questions over and over again, asking you just anything under the moon, as it seems like, obviously enough, your family thought you were dead for the longest time. They could not find you. There was no reports of you returning, no reports even of anyone finding your body, but that's not unheard of in the pens. People go missing and just never reappear every day. And after all of that, when she recuperates, or getting close to recuperating, when the meeting time is about to be called in the markets, she says that if you're really going to talk to the trade princes, if you're really going to be a part of all this, not just killing Mishasa, but actually sticking around to help rebuild, she thinks it's probably her duty to keep an eye on you. Make sure it doesn't all fall to shit again when she leaves. As she says in good nature. If you'll allow her.
It will do good to have a representative from the Holy Land present.
It's good to hear. And with that, a couple days go by, a lot of you rest. Ashim Ka flies you over to the markets, and with some directions given, you find yourself in front of a relatively modest mansion off at the outskirts. Although there are plenty of other much larger buildings in town, you are led to one of the residents of this impartial figure that gave you the invitation. And
Is it possible for us to, take the mufflers off the airship? Just make it as grandiose as possible as an entrance.
Airship's not really all that quiet, although it's not fucking booming. It's like a jet flying by.
Then we're just low-level flying. We're fucking announcing our presence with an airship. Because fuck you, we have an airship. You don't. Bitches.
You obviously see.
Ivan, you want me to start shouting shit?
Oh
Please
no.
don't.
The airship speaks volumes.
I mean, I've got this horn I can sound.
And blow up in your face?
I'd rather you not blow up for what's about to happen.
Actually, no, blow it. Blow it right now.
But, I mean, Ivan told me not to.
But you're a god, you don't listen to him.
Oh wait, that's true.
Ivar just shrugs.
That's true. That's true, but I won't go. I'm hungry, Tobin, so I will get some food first, and then I'll blow it. Maybe I'll blow it while I'm in there.
Definitely do not do that.
I'd rather not anger some of the most powerful people in the world.
I mean, Ivar.
Yes, I know, that's us as well.
It is us as well.
But
you're right.
we control
We need to help
martial
you
might.
build the pens. Time and
But
place.
let's not call it the pin.
What are you gonna call it now?
I don't know. I'll figure it out. I figured out our plan. I just need more time to think.
Ivan's clubhouse?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's a horrible name.
I don't even know what a clubhouse is.
Horrible name.
I love it when Ivar is slightly off kilter. It makes you seem so real.
Well, I'll start thinking of some ideas for you, Ivan. I'll run them past you.
Ivan in the big blue house.
No.
That's we'd have to paint everything blue, Toman. You know how much paint that would take?
I'm sure I could just magic everything blue.
I'd rather not be known as the guy who has everything blue.
What about black?
Gray. Because that's what stone is colored.
As you fly low through the city, you see countless people staring up, oohing and awing at the air. As again,
Yeah, fucking ooh and aw at my airship. Grrr.
relatively
Just
rare
fucking
sight. even
wave
still.
at people.
As you're flying by, you see the small mansion where you're directed to, and eventually you land outside on its very large lawn off to one side, and very quickly, almost like when you first went to meet Mishasa, there are armored individuals, although they don't seem nearly as hostile as Mishasa's guards, that meet you and greet you and lead you inside. You walk into the main foyer, and behind a large staircase led into what looks like a dining room. And as you start to filter in,
Oh
you
wait,
see...
Toman totally cast telepathic bond on us, right?
Just ask him to.
Okay, well, I asked him retroactive.
Sure.
Alright.
Because we might have to do some telepathic speaking as we're talking to these guys.
You said that you wanted, or it'd be nice to have Jade as a representative of the Holy Lands. Are you bringing her along to this?
Yeah, because she's like the general of like Lathander's or Tia's Blobby Blue, right?
Yeah,
Blobby.
she's the
Yeah.
current commander. Although
Yeah,
now that the crusade is over, she sort of doesn't really have that title anymore. But she was the formal commander. Of
Okay. So, but mostly everyone should know who she is in general.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, she was.
Anybody that's been keeping their eyes on what has happened most likely heard that the Commander Hawthorne was killed during the initial invasion when Mishasa's forces struck out. But yeah. As you filter in, you start to see 4 figures. One directly in front of you at the head of the table, turning to greet you as you come in. With a gentle smile on his face, you see scaled skin and large, wispy beard and mustache growing off of his face as a dragonborn stands and bows to you as you make your entrance. You can see a large greatsword standing at the back of his chair, although the man seems quite old in his later years as a dragonborn.
I don't trust him.
Classic.
I immediately trust him because he has a beard.
Welcome. I am Morier. Thank you for coming, Pantheon, and bring
Please.
your compatriots as
Ivar is fine.
well. Ivor it is then. Allow me to introduce myself and them. I am Orier. I am the mayor of sorts of the markets. This, to my left, is the mistress of the coin of gambling, I suppose, Sasamim. As you can see, relatively older woman of darkened skin and quite vibrant blue dress. You can see a little bit of a furrowed brow, quite heavy makeup on her face, that it almost looks like the skin around her eyes and her lips are, at first you think just painted in black makeup, but you actually notice that her lips themselves almost seem cracked and broken, like almost like stone or maybe even like charcoal. It's a strange look. And she, with her furrowed brow, looks at each one of you as you start to pass. And Cinder, you notice her eyes sort of linger on you, and the corner of her mouth shoots up a little bit.
Tillman, I think she's only got the blue motif.
Next, we have the good gentleman Quodo. And all that he is, as you can see, this very elderly gnome that is skinny. His body is just made up of this hodgepodge of different clothing. You can see strange boot that almost rides up to his waist, these gloves that are mismatched. He's got this almost gaudy scepter on his lap, this gigantic frill around his neck. his fashion sense just simply does not seem to exist, as he just is darting his eyes one after another at each one of you as he studies you for just a second with these large goggles. You can see the lenses don't quite match. One is transparent, the other one is almost jet black. Yeah. Yeah. And last, we have a representative from Beatty, Mr. Eliato, at the end. Well, Lady Beatty apparently does not want to join us here today, but it is not, well, unheard of.
That is unfortunate.
Well, it is to be expected. The rest of you, some of your reputations are, well heard of. Yolda, I believe. There is words that you are the most recent holder of the Forge Soul, are you not?
Indeed I am.
Wonderful to hear. I had many dealings with the past holder. Well, it's been over 40 years or so, but he was a fine man. I hope great things for you as well.
I appreciate your good tidings.
Of course. And Mr. Coyle, I hear that you have regained your seat recently. It's good to hear. If you don't mind me saying, your cousin was a bit difficult to work with, and it was an aggravation that it seemed like Miss Shaza had, well, monopolized his work. I'm hoping you'll be more open to other business interests going forward. Yeah, of course, yeah. The rest of you, I'm not quite sure. That one, as Sasamine points his figure, upstanding young businessman I've had dealings with in the past. The one that, well, got into my own business out in the Expanse. I am sad to say that you did not accept my invitation in full, young Cinder.
Well, in the coming days, I think you'll see more of me in the business world. I've decided to put my foot in the door in the realms of the trade princes, and will make a bigger name for myself.
Yes. All of us, as a collective, as the Outriders. And Jade.
Ah, Miss Hawthorne. I'm actually somewhat surprised. Were the rumors of your, well, departure exaggerated? It seems so, Lord Aurier. I, as you see, am alive and well, and the crusade has been successful. It is an honor to be here, but I am merely a guest of Ivar. Here's a representation for the Holy Lands of Tyr's forces, but honestly, I don't know if I really deserve to sit at this table. You'll have to excuse me if I don't share many words of wisdom. Oh, no, please. The more the merrier. It's all fine. And the rest of you, Master Dwarf and... that one there! Little one. Two men. My foot. Had a run-in with my niece. I heard that you didn't get along with her very well.
Well, I love Shifter.
That's not what I hear.
Me and Shifter have a very
Wait.
interesting...
Well, he knows Shifter.
Your
This is
Shifter's...
the dog.
Oh,
The-
your uncle.
Indeed.
I love Shifter. She's full of
Then
piss
by
and vinegar.
proxy, we have dealings with you as well, Quadoke. Well,
Yeah.
Cinder does. With
Seems like it.
Faraday's steam and the
Hmm?
railroad. Is that correct?
Yes. Dirty won't shut up about you. Going on and on about the Expanse and wanting to over and over again. As long as it keeps being
Unfortunately, we cannot speak on Faraday's behalf. But I apologize for that inconvenience.
It's whatever.
I like your beard.
Thank you. You're so very fine yourself.
Oh, thank you. Oh, the trick is mayonnaise.
I like lobster juice. You just take lobsters, crack them open, and ferment them a bit. That's
I'm
what
all
this.
for this dinner.
Oh, that sounds great.
It's probably
I have to try
lobsters for
that.
dinner because that way he can make a mess and like lube up his beard at the same time. It's great. It's perfect.
Yeah, but it's fermented lobster juice.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Probably just crabs then.
But Master Dwarf, Oh. With Jade here. You have to understand, I do love a good rumor. And I do think I recognize something. That gauntlet of yours.
Oh, that's true. It's nice.
The rumor going around that someone found an artifact of the old gods and started all of this. The inspiration for the crusade. Do we really have you to thank for all of that?
I mean, yes, but everyone here helped and destroyed the God Eater of Torm. But obviously, with the skill of Yoda and her forge, rebuilt the gauntlet and the sword of Torm. And of course, yours truly wields it.
Nothing less for the wielder of the forge soul. It seems like you've already quite the achievement under your belt, Monsieur.
Well, I don't always toot my own horn, but I'll appreciate it.
She was
I
well,
totally
Master
toot my own horn all the fucking time. I love this guy.
And last but not least, as I mentioned, Mr. Eliotto at the end, representative of BD. Well, I'll let him introduce himself. Yes, I am Taurus Eliotto. I am sorry that Miss BD could not come here, but it is, well, if you deal with Miss BD, you do not deal with her directly, as it is quite known. His Majesty's wishes were to put her in command, and she has done a wonderful job, but she does not really like social outings. I beg your forgiveness. She does have great interest in all of this, but she will be speaking through a proxy. I hope you are not offended.
Understandable.
And so, we get down to the business. I am simply here as, well, an intermediary for these affairs. As you know, I only overwatch the markets, making sure that they remain neutral, so that there can be a place for all peoples of any ilk to come and trade without loyalty to one or another. But there has been a great stirring in our little pot of dealings, it seems. And, well, Ivar, you have opened up a great prize that others seem to want to claim for their own. And so, a mediation will be held here. Each will make their case, and I fully expect that a reasonable conclusion will become here. We will start with Mr. Ivor if you wish to give your case, or what your intentions are for the lands, the city, and the peoples of Miss Shossa's pins. Please, give us your case.
But of course, as it stands, Mishasa's pins lie in chaos. Her people scattered, her forces decimated, and what is left? A bunch of people yearning for direction. And that is direction I can offer. They will need a leader, and one man does not rule alone, as he gestures to the out. My compatriots here are some of the highest in their forms, of whatever that may be. If anything, we have one of the most powerful creators and minds in your presence at the moment, with the guild master, as well as one of the founders for the Toilfoot Academy, already in outreach in the Expanse, as well as our interest in the Expanse as well, and Heart Claim and Whale's Gift. Well, whatever the name was, I don't know, I can't remember.
White Whale's Gift.
White Whale's Gift, there you go, I've always said that one.
Very well.
I wasn't done. Yeah. My plans so far will be to unite our people. I do not wish to see another person under the bonds of slavery. I do not wish to see another person held back because someone else said so. I preach a sort of, how do you pronounce it? Meritocracy, whatever.
Meritocracy.
Thank you. Alright, see, look, you guys are ready. Sort of meritocracy. Let the builders and the artists and the poets, those that can industrialize and create, flock to my lands. Let the lowliest servant or slave come to my machination and see that they too can rise above. They only need the chance, and that is what I offer. A place, a new start, and a new nation. And of course, that focus will probably be, as he looks back to Desmond, and you can visibly see he looks at you, perhaps industrialization of the sort. Ivar's anvil. We do already have a foot in the door with the dealings of the other trade prince, Sans. But I'm sure we can come to some sort of agreement.
Very well. And those who stand on the other side, do you have concerns or challenges against his claim? Yes, yeah, You stand, right now on a big old pile of rubble. Everything burnt and destroyed, brought to the ground. I am a master of salvage. I could turn your little plot of land and broken buildings into a great fortune. I could use your resources better than you could. Why have people dying in squabbled little homes, hoping and wishing for purpose, when I can put together a real plan? We will strip everything, so it can be built anew. After that point, you can have with it what you will. But why let resources go to waste? Well,
Is he looking to me for an answer?
Yep.
So you
When he says people, wait.
take
What?
the salvage items.
Yeah, when he says people, like, does he mean his people or my people? My quote,
People.
his people?
I would
These
assume
people seem to be a master of salvage, and they could strip your lands clean to make a nice little profit, and your people could. Well, he doesn't really bring up your people. Besides, it seems like the way they're living now is not a good life. Why leave them that way?
I suppose that does solve a very, very important piece of what I was planning to do to rebuild the infrastructure. With you offering help.
hey, Ivar, he's going to probably like strip mine the whole place. He's going to salvage anything that's worthwhile and keep it.
Indeed, this is not an offer to rebuild, but an offer to take everything he can use and leave you and your people with the scraps. Well, not even that.
Good. Then we agree. Resources
I did
will
not
be.
say that, did I?
Hmm.
I was merely stating what you said.
Well, and do you not agree it would be better to strip it clean to be built anew instead of trying to build on top of a corpse? Your people. Labor is always needed. They can work to strip the land, to clear it clean. We could take in a part of them ourselves. Cheap labor is always useful. Better than nothing, like they have now.
You could take in my people.
The slaves, the most of them, obviously they won't be the most well paid, but if they're willing to work, they won't starve.
He is simply a vulture, Ivor. His offers are useless.
I have said before,
Animal by himself.
I do not want slaves. I do not want people pinned down. I will let the artisans ride.
They will not be chained, they will simply be paid what they're worth. But if you have an influx of individuals looking for work and not enough pay to go around, well, those who wish to strive for something better must simply work harder than the rest. It's simply economics, I hope you understand. And if those that cannot work, well, they have no use, do they? They should just go somewhere else.
And they will find work. And if your people are so in need of work, then they will come to my without your consideration. No.
Well then, so be it. All right. Well, any other concerns? Indeed. You wish to lead this new nation, and yet the only experience you have is a man who has just now reclaimed his guild within Forlanza. I'm sure an organization that's already rife with conflict and confusion. Who has the time to manage such a thing and an entire nation itself? And although I do love your dear Cinder, such a large leap, don't you think? You're all personally capable of such things, of such great things, but, well, to take over a nation so soon, do you really think you're capable? Wouldn't it be better for someone who's, well, experienced it, lived it, made successful and wise choices over the years, and can truly bring prosperity to your people? Do you really want to risk it on a gamble?
Seems like you'd be really interested in gambling.
I've heard about you, Sashimi, from your compatriots in the ginseng.
Oh, have you? Only good things, I hope.
Only good things.
Then you know I am perfectly capable of leading your people into a future that would surely give them prosperity.
Or, if I gambled wrong, then I'm left with nothing.
Well, in the end, the house does always win. Why not simply let your people be a part of the house?
I am the house.
Very well. I'm not looking to march my armies upon you, Ivar. But when you fail, I'm sure Quudok will be here to strip your lands clean. But I think I'd have more use for them. That is a gamble I'm willing to take.
I've heard those words before. That gamble did not end well for those that said it.
What if I offered you a share? I will gain a tidy profit out of your lands. I won't deny it. If you are allowed 10%, no responsibilities on your part. All you have to do is stand apart. Let me take over, govern your people, your lands, and in return, you will become rich beyond your wildest dreams, without even lifting a finger.
I'm not in it for the money.
Of course. Very well. All right, well, Mr. Eliarto, do you have concerns on behalf of Miss Beatty? Yes, I do. Miss Beatty has no desires for your lands or your people, but she cannot afford too much chaos. If your lands fall into ruins, if your people go wild and the lands become a place of disease and rot, Miss Beatty has shown desires to remove you in the future if it is necessary. I do not want it to sound like a threat. No, it's an offer that if the future does not go the way you think or wish, we will help to clean it. She desires stability, and if you cannot provide such a thing, well, Miss Biddy will not allow it to remain that way. Do you truly have confidence that you are able to quell the hearts of these people? It is a nation born of rebellion, of striking out against those in power. It would not be hard to, well, imagine it happening again.
If she seeks stability, then we see eye to eye. I am confident in my ability that I will be able to quell them.
Very well. She simply wanted me to voice her concerns.
But of course,
Well, it seems like no direct demands can be met. But I don't believe that dear Ivar will completely have his way. Unless the other princes want to concede in full their claim upon the land. I have a few, well, demands, I suppose. I will guarantee that I will relinquish my commands of your land and your people if that one there works with me. As she points over to Cinder. I offer you thousands of people, thousands of acres of land for just a single man.
But Yoda, are you for sale?
He wants Cinder, not me.
I'm drunk already, guys. I'm sorry. Cinder.
What is the work you're proposing?
Well, I've looked into you, Cinder. From the moment you opened that little game house of yours within the Expanse, it seems like those scales, those wings of yours are not just a fashion statement. I believe creatures such as you and I should not have such hostilities as our kind have in the past. So I simply wish an alliance. And whatever is brewing out in the west, I hope that you will be my eyes and ears in such a thing. And when it all comes to fruition, and the spoils are spread, you will understand that some is due to me. That whenever you pick up a coin, you will know that a piece of it belongs to me. And because of that, you and I will have quite a beneficial relationship. I can offer you such great things, and in return I simply request your loyalty.
I would agree, given certain terms. See, out to the west, well, the Expanse, that is the word, isn't it? You've had eyes before you've had my eyes, and you've heard of the success that I've turned for that dirt-covered village and expanded it. You know the success that I can bring and the speed with which I can bring it, and I'm not going to be shy about my aspirations within this city. I wish to expand even more. I will consider alliances, and I look each of them in turn, not just her. I give them each a pointed look as I expand, for I do not wish to have enemies. I feel, well, alliances are more beneficial for everybody, but I will be having my fingers in more pots, and I will not work for anyone, but I will work with people for mutual benefit.
Very well. Then in return for that, I wish to have a consulate erected within your borders. Representatives of my people. There's a particular woman I have in mind. I wish them to sit upon whatever ruling architecture you form, Ivar. I want you to have an ear to their suggestions. They will obviously have my interests in mind, but they will not be saboteurs, They will wish for your success as much as my own. But I will not be blind to your doings. It will not be a surprise. I wish to have a seat at your table. That with the promise of Cinder to work with me in the future. Maybe not a fitting price, but one I'm willing to accept, given your current successes, I suppose, as a reward. Is this acceptable, Ivor?
Red dots look to my advisors.
This is sounding a lot like to the benefit of her and only her.
I'll say it if we're speaking with the telepathic bond, that we've promised to give her nothing. I only wish to work with her and will end up being able to have my own ears within her compound, while the only thing we're giving up is somebody to sit in the room while you still make all the decisions. We lose nothing and gain everything.
It sounds
She
like we're
wants
just trading ambassadors.
a piece of every single coin you find, Cinder.
And I refuted it and promised nothing. I said to work with her.
Ivar closes his eyes in contemplation.
I will be making her more money, but I will be working in my own best interest. You can believe that.
I never doubted it, Cinder.
And I would like to offer a counter. All of that, but I get my own consulate and ambassadors in your region as well.
Very well. Would it be one within this room now, or do you have someone else in mind?
I'll figure that out once I establish myself. I will stay in contact.
Very well. I hope for a mutually beneficial relationship going forward.
As do
Especially
I.
with you, Cinder.
And I speak into her mind and nobody else's. We're going to make each other very rich.
Wonderful. Also, before my business is concluded, and I do thank you, Ivor, Cinder, I wish to speak to you after all of this concerning a gift that you took a while ago. It's so entertaining, the thought of it.
I give a curt nod.
She turns and nods her head at Aurier. Very well. Mr. Krudok, what have you to say? If you won't allow me to make use of what trash heap that you stand on partly right now, I suppose a contract of sorts. Your land is in shambles. There's no denying this. It is in ruins, your people destitute. I offer business, as my people do. Labor, resources, bought at fair market prices, but in monopoly. You will not seek out any other vendor for your resources. You will not seek out any other help in rebuilding. For a contract of, say, 20 years, we will be the sole provider to your people. And with that, you will be reliant upon us. But we will make sure that you get everything you need to rebuild. And your future workings with my brother, I'm sure, will go smoothly. If not, well, who's to say how his lips might be sealed.
I expect this all happening in a quick and orderly fashion.
Cos! Who do you think I am?
I just raise his hands defensive, just making sure.
Telepathically, I say this is unreasonable. 20 years of a monopoly puts us at his feet.
I'm pretty sure I'm drunk, but that was a fucking horrible offer from him.
Indeed.
I mean, Ivo, that means like you can't even build anything in your own place.
Offer him a contract to do the work we want done, and offer it as a price that doesn't cripple us. He gains profit from the work, but he doesn't. A monopoly is ridiculous, and 20 years is even further ridiculous, as we're going to have this place built much faster.
Well, that means not even Desmond could come in and help build anything.
Here is my counter. Not a monopoly. I will be in agreement with your labor, but to my design. And certainly not a monopoly, and certainly not for 20 years.
Then you offer nothing!
He said that he's a master of salvage. We offer him a contract and profit to gain from the entire situation.
Offer him a priority, I guess. We do have our own craftsmen. We would use them, but don't give him a monopoly. Just say that we use him mostly, I guess, in a way.
I say offer to pay him for whatever he wishes to do. There's a fair price for the rebuilding and the clearing, and whatever salvage he manages during that effort, he gets to keep at no cost. And when that effort is done, the contract is done.
I mean, but what if he finds something extremely valuable that Mishasha has hidden somewhere?
It'll have been worth his acquiescence in this meeting to gain the foothold in and the power. He gains profit twice from one job, and we gain, well, rulership.
Anything to add, Yolder?
I would not offer that vulture anything except first dibs on any contracts you want to put forward. There are other craftsmen in these lands. He just happens to be close. His predatory nature does not belie, well, how should I put it? Earnestness.
Why, you ruminate. Let me make something clear. I am the master of Kordo's coin. If you even think that a monopoly on my side would stifle your ability to get outside work, understand, my words are heavy. If someone were to hear that, a particular ruler didn't have the backing of the coin, that a merchant or a smith, if they were to work within your place, maybe we're getting on the bad side of Mr. Quodok. I think they would be quite hesitant in working for you. I would surely reconsider your options.
So now we're making threats.
It's just business.
Like I said, a vulture.
I do not
Dang.
wish to plan out your cities. I don't wish to stop you from building what you want. Build an army, I don't care. But when it comes to the point where you need to spend coin on something, I wish to see that coin come to me. If you think that I will not be upstanding in this, I offer to have a third party review any conflicts that we may have. Beatty doesn't seem to have a claim on your place. She will adjudicate any problems we may have. Would that be acceptable? If you have a problem with the contract, if you think I charge too much, my labor too slow, then send in a complaint, and Beatty can be the judge. I have full faith in her judgment.
I do have a question, Mr. Dragonborn person whose name I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely not going to remember that. Why exactly? Why exactly do they have claim on Misasha's land?
They do not. But they have the same amount that Ivar does. Just because Mishosa is dead does not mean the one who killed her is now ruler supreme. They have had their eyes on this land, and they have as much claim as any other. It is up for grabs, as they would say, and, well, who else would go against them?
Then, correct me if I'm wrong, but if Ivar has equal claim and we have the backing of Sasamim, does that not give us the most claim already?
Well, I do suppose. Zosamim, I am giving an offer to stay my hand. I do not offer my armies to protect you, even though I hate to see your little project fall to ruin. The price I'm being paid is not enough to fight on your behalf. It is simply an agreement for neutrality. A ceasefire, sorts. Well, there you have it. Yes. You have to understand, if we don't come to a conclusion, it would be easy enough to march my people into your lands and salvage all we wished. But we don't wish for another war. So we come to agreement. We are businessmen, not warmongers.
Very easy for you to come in against our wishes and do as you wish under our nose, you're saying. Is that what you're boasting?
I put my hand on Cinder's shoulder. It's okay. It's okay. Don't kill them. It's okay.
I'm afraid altruism is not a word I am well acquainted with.
I would acquiesce some exclusivity to Kudok. However, his resources are vast, even if he is refuse.
Yes, that much is obvious.
20 years, perhaps 5, and we are going to need resources for the challenges ahead. He has the deepest breadbasket, as far as I can see.
I would say 5 with the offer of a possibility of 10 after the 5-year period of.
I'm not sure that you understand the strength of a monopoly. I say Yolder's first idea of first look and choice of exceptions for any contract go to him so that he works within a monopoly as long as he's not hindering us. It works by necessity, it works.
I do not disagree.
I guess we could offer that and see if that's sufficient enough to sate his hunger.
Are we sure that I can't just, punch him in the face?
Fairly.
I mean, that would be.
Lance is getting more and more drunk.
I could totally take on his army.
You just feel that horn hanging by your hip.
Oh, if I blow it right now, darn, Ivar has a lot more charisma and finesse about this than I probably do.
May I, Ivar?
Ivar, trust is a hand to Yolda.
Kudok. we would be willing to work with your coin. Exclusivity, contractually binding, is extreme. Where can we find a middle ground? You have not so subtly threatened to, in essence, blackball any other resources that we wish to work with around you, using your prestige and position to muscle out any competition. You have offered to have, as she gestures over to Taurus, the representative of BD, arbitrate any disagreements that we may have over pricing or efficiency, etc., etc.
Uh-huh.
But it seems this grouping does not want to promise to only do business with you. We are more than happy to give any and all contracts that we need done, and there are quite a few of them, to you first. If you see fit to act upon them, then we can happily do business. If there are contracts that are not to your liking for the prices that we need, then we would prefer to be able to look elsewhere without having to worry about you besmirching whomever comes to pay the right price. We are, well, numerous. We are multifaceted and quite talented. My skill in the forge, I believe, is unprecedented, and I will not have you silence or quench that flame.
Fine. If there is labor that you could find within this world that would outperform my own to such an extent, very well. But if you or Ivar, anyone, decides to negotiate without consulting with the coin, there shall be a fine involved. 50% of what the labor would cost, or the product. If you speak to a merchant buying products without informing me and getting consent of myself or the arbitration of BD, then a fine will be paid. There will be no sneaking behind each other's backs to get things done. But if there is a merchant that you wish to deal with specifically, or a great work that, for whatever reason, my people could not assist with, then we will be happy to make an agreement that you are allowed to use outside help.
Can you guarantee expediency? Because if we have an ambition and we wish to come across to you, we do not wish to pay a penalty simply because you lost the paperwork.
Of course, of course. If we cannot get a job done in reasonable time, then we will acquiesce to outside labor.
Would there be like a minimum, or like if I go and buy bread down the street, am I getting fined because I didn't buy it from you?
I was going.
It will be exclusively state resources, right, Quodok? Not our personal matters.
Of course.
Yes,
I hope to have the Quodok name be household in your nation. If a local merchant wants to set up a bread stall, I'm not about to hang a man for it. But anything that brings marginal profit, I will have my eye on, as I always do.
Obviously.
Then I would
There's a
see.
time limit. He can mention the how long this will last. He's probably still think it's 20 years.
This system seems amicable to the lot of us. What say you to agreeing to this binding and this system for... She kind of just like rubs against her temple and suggests 7 years to the group.
I would think closer to 10 is probably better. 7, you cut his original one in more than 3/4 almost.
Lowball him. Let him suggest the higher price.
7
We'll
years.
come to an agreement.
With
10. And we will renegotiate when the time comes. If there has not been any incidents throughout that time period, then there should be no reason to cancel our agreement for perpetuity.
10 years with renegotiations every 10.
Yes.
It seems sufficient to me, Ivar.
He looks over to Ivar.
Then by the words of Yolder and Quidot, I agree. I do hope.
Bashes his cane onto the table and everything just rumbles for a second. And we're done! Thank you for your agreement.
I do hope this opens up more avenues.
Of course. A long-winded relationship and all that. Meh.
Yes.
Wait. No, I'm gonna build my own house though, if I want to.
Whatever.
Great.
Again, this is matters of the state, Lannister.
I know, but I'm gonna build a fucking giant fort.
Very well. And Mr. Eliotto, is there anything more? No, I have said what I wanted to say. An understanding that Biddy will not sit idly by if your nation falls to squander and, well, becomes a hindrance on the rest of us. But, with the deals put in place today, I have confidence that the future is bright. And I am sure Miss Beatty will love to hear the news of what has happened here today.
Yeah, I don't trust Miss Beatty the most.
Very well.
I've ever met her.
I look forward to not hearing from her in time.
He just sort of gives you a grin and a nod. As some of you, if any of you had an interest in the Trade Prince Bazaar, Beatty is certainly an oddity. She's known to be a relative of the past Trade Prince. Not quite sure what exactly. Some people think she's his daughter or sister or something. Man before her was sort of a hero of sorts. He was beloved by the people. He was the one who's created the most popular and enormous bard college in the world. He was a man of song and music and of love and of free love, and he wanted to basically create a perfect place for people to be able to voice their opinions freely. He is a very peaceful man, and the people loved him. When it came down to his deathbed, because he was just human, he basically said he wanted Beatty to take charge, but from what people knew of Beatty, she was basically a shut-in. Nobody really knew who she was or what she did, and nobody really saw her. She never went out, she never did anything, and people were really confused, but out of pure love for her father or whoever he was, they accepted. He basically said, give her a year. If she can't prove herself, then someone else can vie for power. But strangely enough, nothing really became of it. The nation still went on through her leadership. She worked basically through messengers, but the kingdom still flourished. It was still a place of great freedom and prosperity, and there was never been a reason to question her. Well, that doesn't for this meeting then, unless there are any other concerns.
If I may.
We are all equal here, Yolder.
Sasamim Kudok, BD's representative. This meeting is to promote stability and keep everyone from going at each other's throats, vying for more land, more power, more money, etc. That much is obvious. And I believe it went rather well, all things considered. But there is a pressing issue above this. We hope to utilize what we've negotiated here, along with the deep coffers that Mishasa has been so kind to vacate for us, to rebuild Ivar's anvils. She shoots him a dry smile.
We will negotiate the name. It was off the top of my head.
I like it.
Oh, yeah, it's a good name.
It's a very
Is
good
it?
name.
We will figure out what we need to do in time.
But while we will address things here, I'm sure you must have heard, Sasamim.
Of the fall? Yes, I'm aware.
Are you aware of the threat that looms over not just the Expanse, but all of Omnia?
I've heard the squabblings of my people against the dragons. It seems like Zephyr has, well, quite terribly failed in his leadership. They're all such children at the end of it all. What do you mean? It's just a dragon. Even if he is more cunning than the last, they always do seem to come up with some scheme, one way or another.
As quick meta question. We have used legend lore in the past, and I have not needed to convey what it is my god has shown me to the rest of the party. I don't know if it's like, do we all just kind of sit in front of the big screen and God tells us a story, or like, is it just into my mind and then we just kind of roll over it?
Usually for you, the way you have done it before is basically there is a physical manifestation of the story that comes to you. Before, when you did it, basically you used gold coins and they melted before your eyes and basically shaped and flowed to show a story. To an outside viewer, they would see it, but it wouldn't make a ton of sense. To you, as the pictures are formed in front of you, you get names and places, a better understanding of exactly what's going on. There's not a big booming voice that echoes throughout the room and tells what's going on. And once there was! But there is a physical manifestation that shows the story as if somebody was, doing a puppet show or something, but just not talking, except you hear the words that would go along with it. It does not echo through everyone's minds. Only you can make sense of it, but everybody can see what you're doing and try to make sense of what things look.
So Yoda can just say the narration of the picture book. She's like reading the picture book aloud, and then the dragon destroyed everything and took the heart of Hephaestus, and then she waves the picture book around and everyone oohs and ahs at the picture.
It is basically like that. It's like you're reading a picture book to a lot of people that can't read. Like, they can see the pictures, but they don't know what the fuck the words are.
Gotcha.
So if you cast Legend Lore on some famous knight, they could probably figure out, like, oh, she's learning something about this knight, and it looks like there's a dragon involved, and are those 3 witches? I'm not really sure what's going on, but you'd be like, oh, the 3 witches named Olga, Woggle, and Stab. So,
What names? What names?
Ah, yes, the 3 chaos witches that brought about the fire that destroyed the dragon.
Alright, well, considering it also has a casting time of 10 minutes that I always forget about,
Just ask the Atonement to yeet it with Wish as an action.
fucking wish. I would take a few moments to try to get Sasamim Kudok and the representative up to speed with everything that has transpired. Coming to a conclusion, I guess, with the resurrection and second chance of Badran.
If you tell your story and I get assaulted by a cat, get
attacked.
Go away.
If you tell your story, the DM has to go to the bathroom really bad. So
yes!
Tell your
Okay,
story,
I get to go to the bathroom too.
Bathroom break.
Alright, bathroom break
I'll
for
be right
everyone.
back in about 5 minutes, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with our cool boardroom meeting, and I hope you're enjoying the politicking.
Yeah, 20 level characters with...
Alright, let's see. Let's get right back to it. Hope you're back. Yeah, so as I conclude my tale.
Did you? Oop. Alright, so we're all back as Yildir finishes her tale, recounting everything that's been going on with Karseth, this dragon that seems to have found the secrets of a place that has been in contention with the Jinn and dragons for so long, the Unwon Sea, the 2 islands that reside within it, that says that basically the land itself was alive and would basically thwart any intruders upon it, but only recently Karseth has claimed it. and within it, apparently, has found the secrets of Bane's might, and is seeking to take it for himself. Also, Cinder, apparently having a relationship with Karseth, was given a promise that if he had not returned, Karseth would come and claim his people and his town and burn it to ash. So, the start of the year, Heartclaim will be no more, unless they do something about it. But it seems like there's far more, as Karseth has already struck out against the Jinn, destroying the great city of air, bringing it to the ground. And Yolder, you're waving at me. Did you want to not say some of that?
No, I mean, I leave out Cinder's direct connection to it, to Karseth, and just kind of allude to like the group having a connection to him. But that I lean heavily on the fact that she believes that Karseth is not going to stop at Heartclaim.
Oh yeah.
His attack on Fatan Hawa is already more than enough proof, along with his conquest in the Unone Sea. This dragon will not stop, as we all know the infamous greed of dragons.
Yeah, and
the title of all-taking king of Bane.
And it seems like the islands are almost overflowing with massive amounts of forces, of strange draconic beasts, and others, kobolds and the like, that obviously will be quite a force to be reckoned with for the world, as it seems like Karseth is just growing a massive army.
And allude to the fact also that Karseth seems to be growing in strength, because it seemed to be downplayed, the fact that it was just a dragon, and we have to upplay the fact that it's not just a dragon.
Indeed. It seems like he has gained some sort of power that last time you fought him, it was beyond imagining. It was a force that weighed upon you. Some of you made your arms heavy, made it so you could... He was resistant to your attacks. You having difficulty fighting against his influence, the strength of him. Just his presence was something different. Yeah, and if that wasn't complete, then it could only get worse.
Yeah, hoping that that since she had a title, that somebody knows about her. Yolder would also name drop the Jeweled Claw and the fact that we fought both of them at the same time. We kind of beat the shit out of one, and the other one was way stronger.
Well, but Yolder
way stronger.
Retreated from me. Okay.
You go through all of that with eyes watching upon you. With each one, each of you speaking, they would shift their attention, quite intent on hearing every word you have to say. And at the end of So, he's going to attack Heartclaim, eh? That is unfortunate. But what do you expect us to do? If I was a wise man, for what you just told me, it seems like I should just withdraw my assets, call back my niece, and make sure that, well, my brother gives up on his foolish little train. What do you think really makes me want to help? Which I'm assuming you're asking for.
Indeed. And I'm asking because it is in your best interest, Kudok. I'm asking because this is not a simple dragon. This is a dragon that is quite close to being the only god that can influence this realm any longer. I have a direct connection to the deity that I worship. He has answered my call twice. Perhaps you may have heard of what transpired in Frolunsa, dealing with the Coil Guild. A slaughter averted. Now, we have word that things are getting even more complicated in the upper planes. And whether or not we will have the time to address that issue and bring back the deities beyond the veil, that is unknown to us for the time being. But what is known is that Karsith is not going to stop at Heartclaim. Why would he? When he could take the entire realm for himself, what dragon wouldn't? You think these 800-foot walls will keep you safe? I have seen him wield magic unparalleled except maybe Toman. And his army is immense, but we are establishing a coalition, all of us, and the Jinn, and soon the Ironwall Republic.
The Holy Alliance just goes without saying because we have Jade.
She just sort of nods. We have seen the might of the ones in front of you. It was not an army that slew Mishosa. It was them alone. Mishosa was a creature beyond imagining. If they say that Karsith is worse, that he threatens all of our lands, the world even, I can only accept that. I was willing to give my life for something that in comparison looks like, well, a foolish errand, anything else. If you were afraid of Miss Shasa in the past, if you thought her an equal or even a threat, please think of what something far worse can be. I have not seen this dragon, but from their words, I don't think any of us are safe. It must be in your own interest, if nothing else, to aid them.
Say all this, saving the world and nonsense, people saving their own skin. But at the end of the day, war is war. War is profitable. Sure, why not go to war? But I do truly hope that you are intending to save Hardclaim, yes? I have a lot of stock placed in that place, and I don't wish it to be wiped off the map.
We are not a couple of small-time adventurers that just climbed out of the woodwork, Quido.
And beyond that, Hardclaim has my name ascribed to it, and, well, nobody can touch what is mine.
That's right.
Indeed. We have already decided, through numerous discussions with the Jinn, that going on the offensive is our best bet against Karsith. If everything goes somewhat to plan, he will not even see the horizon of Heartclaim.
Very well. On top of the work that we're going to be doing to put your little nation back together, I will provide a loan with favorable interest. Will that subside? Will that do for your desire?
Why is he loaning us money?
Wars are expensive.
Yeah.
What interest rate and what quantity?
Depending on the scale that you need, I could set a line of credit of, say, 100 million gold. With a measly 10% interest. Due in 5 years' time.
How does that sound to me, given what I know about the loans that people are often given in business?
For your usual loan shark or skeezy bank, sounds okay. For going into business and actually having good business relationships, it may be a bit stretching on the. That's sort of high interest for 5 years to pay that back in 5 years. That's 110 million gold to pay back after 5 years.
So I'll just kind of raise my hand and say, we could have, or we have the clout to already have got that from you for our own personal gain. If you're wishing to give us favorable interest, as you call it, I think that a more fair price is in order for it to be called your help.
While they're doing that, I kind of think about the amount and the rate. How does that sound in terms of a war chest, though?
Seems like a decent amount of money. You could raise a lot of soldiers with that. Maybe not the finest, but that could raise thousands and thousands. Not for a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
but for a decisive, month or so, if you're just trying to win a battle, that's a lot of fucking money.
What interest rate do you believe would be more amicable, Cinder?
I offer him, I put out the number that I think would be about half the rate of somebody like just trying to open a store.
So you'd probably ask for like 2.5% or so, or maybe like 3.5%.
Right, yeah, 3.5%, given that we're the ones who are going to be protecting your city and you're making a profit. I think this is more than fair.
Fine. But in return, I demand collateral. If, for whatever reason, you default on your loan, I'll claim one of your cities. Of my choice.
How much money is he giving us?
100 million gold.
That's a lot of gold.
Yes, it is.
Dude, that's even more than we have as a collective. I mean, I guess if I sell the armor. No, not even. What's the armor worth? Like 2 million? 3
I mean, 100 million gold, that's only 18 million shy of what the heart of a god is worth in weight in gold.
Oh, but the heart of a god, no one needs. Only you can use the heart of a god.
And I explained telepathically, too, that, I mean, we're not going to be taking 5 years to pay it back necessarily, too. If things go right, we just use how much we need, pay it back immediately, and we only have to spend a prorated, if it's for a month, a prorated 1/12 of 3.5%.
That's fair enough.
Hilda
Wonderful.
doesn't know all of that, but she trusts in how sure Cinder is of what he says.
Yeah, go economics advisor.
And then if we just take the money, we have to, I would be, unless, I figure Ivar already had an idea of the amount of money that he has as a state, and I think I would speak up if I felt like we couldn't pay this back based on the funds that his state has.
How much does my state have, Brendan?
From the last, you've only really been around for a couple days. You're not quite sure.
I have a ballpark estimate.
It's measured in the millions of gold from the riches of slaveholders and things that have been, repossessed by the state. From the storehouses you've found so far, you've got maybe 50 million gold or so that you've found about.
With potentially more?
Yeah, again, you've only been in power for 4 days. I have no idea how much you might find.
Alright,
So then we'll also speak the caveat that we may not need a loan as big, and when we settle out the coffers will come to a total amount at the rate we agreed to.
Yeah, Cinder says that. Because they're my advisor. I'm the ruler. No man
So if
will
it
go
turns out
out
we
on
only
my-
need 1 million gold because those are the soldiers we can afford, then we'll get that rate and we won't borrow as much.
Yeah, there you go. See, look, no man rules alone. Ivar has everyone else do all the talking for him. Good job, advisors. I'm proud of you.
Very well. I'll offer you a line of credit at 3.5% over 5 years at whatever amount you need at a cap of 100 million gold. That will be my effort in this war of yours.
It is appreciated.
And then as I agree to it, I give like a really quick side-eyed glance at Sasamim to kind of show like I know how to push this money thing. Even though it's like in the best interest of everybody, obviously, it makes it look as if I'm gaining something, sort of.
Yes, good job, economic advisor. Good job. He's great jobbing.
Yeah, as you're talking and making suggestions and changes, she's just watching you with a grin on her face. She's just, keeping an eye on you as you're doing your work. She seems. On the other hand, well, I could offer something of the same, but only so many coins can be thrown at such a thing. So, my nation is not, well, rich on troops, if that's what you are wishing for. There are plenty of strapping young people that would fight for coin, and I could lead you to them within my nation. But, well, my standing army is my own. I'm not about to let myself be caught naked by some old fool. I wouldn't want to see you naked. So, what is it that you require from me? I have knowledge I could share. I have my ways that could be helpful. But, well, the things that I could offer that could truly be of aid are things that should not be spoken before certain individuals. Not to bring cloak and daggers into this conversation, but it would be a dealing in between your party and myself alone.
I understand that knowledge is power, and we appreciate anything that we will negotiate in the near future.
Indeed. After you also inclined to speak with Cinder on the matters that you mentioned earlier, I would appreciate it if you would speak to me on the matters of this war.
Very well. So be it. We will speak afterwards then, if that will work.
As I just turn my fiery gaze towards Tor's.
I am not in a position to offer much. I will of course speak to Biddy on your behalf, but we have troops that we could offer. Standing army is one thing, but we do much to protect our rights, and there are many willing to die for their freedom within the harem. So troops, I could offer, with approval of course, and our specialty, there's not much need to hide it, is in spies. To become free, you must know who is trying to capture you. So, PD understands the use of intelligence, knowing what others do not, and what those are trying to hide from you. We could offer some specialists for your efforts. They could possibly be more use to you than 100 or 1,000 men.
You do this altruistically.
I have come here in good faith. BD gave me instructions to not rock the boat, as you say, to do as much as I can to harbor good relations. It is not so heavy a price to give you the work that we are known for. If they go without a paycheck for a month or two, we can survive. And the troops we offer, well, they were trained for such things. Maybe not fighting dragons, but they are talented nonetheless. I'm sure you will find use for them. I only suggest that you do not put others' men on the front lines, waiting for them to die off, only for your own can take the glory. We have our own pride, so put us where we are most useful. We are not simply meat to be thrown to the wolves.
It seems sufficient intelligence cannot be, well, underestimated. Kudok, there is one other thing I require of you. We are going to need to use your railroad.
Fine. Pay the standard fees that my brother's been charging, and I wash my hands of it. It's his little ordeal, not mine. Well, as long as you're on good terms with him, I don't see any problems with it. He's a fool anyways. I don't think you could do much worse than just bat in your eyes and he'd probably say, okay. The idiot. There's nothing else?
I have nothing else.
Anyone else with concerns, questions?
Oh my, I'm just gonna kill the fucking dragon.
That is needed.
The Dragonborn looks back and forth to both sides. It seems we are concluded then. I thank you all for coming here this afternoon. And it is a joyous occasion that we could come to such agreements. If you don't like to stay, I'm sure we could have dessert, or if not, I bid you farewell, and good luck on your journey. If you wish, please stay within the markets. Shop to your heart's content. I'm sure you will need whatever you can get for this venture to come. On my own behalf, I will say that you have stirred my heart. The conflicts and the prismatic dragons. It is a long-known one. Something that I do have a personal interest in, and I would not see this Karseth gain such power that you speak of. I will talk to some contacts of my own. See what I can do to aid you. I give no promises, I am sorry. My power is somewhat limited. I govern a city, but it is not my own. But if I can, aid will be given.
Any help is surely appreciated.
Of course.
In deeper thought, I have one final request. If you are so able, Sasamim Kudok and Tors, to notify those who would so happily take a bundle of coin and draw arms for those that pay them.
But of course. Of course. Ah!
I need to direct my efforts to the Iron Wall, so if you can shake the cell swords out of the trees of your lands and send them to the anvils, well, that'll move this along a lot
The
faster.
anvils.
I really like it, honestly. But of course I would, right?
Wonderful. Then we conclude. I thank everyone for coming here this evening. As I said, you are free to stay if you wish. Our hospitality is your own, but for this meeting, as the arbitrator of it, I call it to an end. Thank you all. And we will end it here. And with that, unless anybody has any last minute things, the meeting goes on for a little bit, but no more business is really brought up. People finish their food. Kudok and Sasamim seem to leave relatively quickly, always seeming to be a little bit busy. And you all are free to leave at your own leisure, as things start to move a little bit more quickly for our party. Days start to pass. Downtime. People need to see certain things. Ivar, you have a nation to try to get back on its feet, or at least moving in that direction, as you are king of basically a fallen country at this point.
Choo choo. Here comes the hype train.
A lot of money to be found within the ruins, but a lot of money that needs to be spent on those ruins. So a lot of your time is probably going to be eaten up by that, and obviously one can't rule alone. Hana is there by your side, and she has quite the amount of resources from the Resistance, as they are quick work. It seems like they already had a plan on sort of what to do to put things back together, starting with, the very basics, making sure people have food and water and shelter, making sure that, public goods are available, that utilities and things are put back online immediately, firewood being able to be presented, warmth, comfort, medicine, the necessities, as it will take a while before the Pens can get back to a place of comfort, as for most of its citizens, it never was that sort of place. It was a harsh land filled with harsh ordeals where only a select few could really live there. Something that could really be thought of as a life, and you're aiming to change that by quite a bit. The rest of you, you've got about 5 months or so before the time. Allies are starting to gather. Cell swords are showing up by the handful into Ivar's anvils. And
Ivar's
anvil work. Anvil? Ivar's anvil.
Ivar's anvils. Yeah. No, I'm just repeating it myself because I said it.
Echoing it.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm echoing it. But grumbly echoing it like Ivar's anvil. And every time Ivar hears it, he just puts his hand in his face. Why did I say it? Whose idea was?
But with that is basically the end of tonight's session for actual D&D roleplay purposes. People talking and shit and getting some revelations, making deals and things. Next up, we got some downtime, so we're not going to spend a whole ton of time on it because this actually took a little bit longer than I was expecting. But I want to hit what everybody's intending to do. We'll probably have to hash it out through out-of-game stuff, as I will be taking next Sunday off because there's a lot of downtime stuff to do in between now and next session, and I need to know what the fuck everybody's going to be doing and what to plan for next time around. So I'm going to be taking some time to fuck around with it. But I do want to give, or just get a little bit of a gist of what everybody's planning on doing coming forward, so at least the viewers will sort of know
what they're gonna be up to in the next 2 weeks, as we will be gone, and you'll get to wait in anticipation on how these things sort of play out. Somebody can say, I want to do this, and next time around you can figure out how that went. So, I can either go down the line, or if anybody's just got a general idea of what they want to be doing, they can pop on first, as I just want
Hi, Toman. Can you enchant my helm using Mishasa? So
I spent a lot of time talking for the bartering and shit for the war effort part, so I'm gonna go ahead and go last.
that's all I want to say. Hi, Toman. Can you enchant stuff?
Ivar just wanted to upgrade his gear a little bit.
And other than that, yeah, build the army. See to that the people are stable and whatnot. And then we'll move forward on the trade prince part sometime. Figure that out. How to actually start making money and become an actual trade prince. Other than that, I'm just prince.
Alright. Yeah, so you're upgrading your gear a little bit, gonna do your part to start building the army that needs to be heading off west, and rebuilding your nation, which obviously, if you want to put some effort into it, will take a lot of your time, so understandable.
Yep. That's what I'm doing for 5 straight months.
Oh, yeah. Who wants to go next?
Well, mine is parallel to the rebuilding of a nation. To me, that is opportunity. I'm going to jump in with Ivar to see like the efforts that he's doing. I'm going to jump in with Sasamim because we had a meeting set up, and then also my own going around, because I went around during the rebellion and I was quelling some of the resistances and setting up a name for myself, so I used some of that name and I go around and the last time what I did was last time I was trying to find out how much radishes were going for in the spring and try to buy and sell on the market, and that didn't really work out for me. This time, I'm looking to buy all the radishes so that nobody can sell them anymore, and then jack up the price. And then if anybody else wants to sell radishes, well, they can come through me and make a deal. I'm going to start the mob.
On radishes, though? That's
The radish mob!
Well, that was
like, why not potatoes or something
example.
people like?
No.
Because he doesn't
That was an
speak
example
Irish.
so that I could explain my direction. I'm doing that with everything from potatoes to steel to rocks to whorehouses to casinos, everything. I'm the
buying up
mob
all
now.
the whorehouses.
The easy part will be starting to, because Sasamine wants to partner up, so I'm going to get her involved to a degree and start feeding off of she has a lot of influence and things like that, and she has a great place to branch out from. Ivar's corner of the world has a lot of disarray that I can end up building a foothold in, and
There's a lot of potential in a ruined country.
Exactly. And I'm going to use those two types of things together to start pushing my way into every business.
Getting a little bit of inspiration from your dealings with Kudok and maybe.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I tried making money before just by buying and selling, and it was on such a small scale that it didn't really work. And then later we come and we see we have this meeting and of all the people of power and the way that they can expect, a percentage of everybody's coin. And this is something that I can press a lot harder, because why am I not getting a percentage of everybody's coin? Why are they just all having businesses, and why don't I have my hands in that business? And I have the unique ability to, we'll say it's like Sasamine has power, but it's indirect power because of her position. A lot of my power is already direct, and I feel like if I pool those resources, then there won't be people that can stand up against, someone who says, well, I want to open a shop. Okay, good. Well, you can pay me the tax, and, you're not going to be going up against me. It's definitely shady, but it also organizes. People will still prosper, only I take money.
Yeah. Good stuff. Send her some making the mob. But a new, happier, friendlier mob.
Sure, unless someone goes against me, and then it's a half-dead. People.
Then breaking kneecaps.
Then hey, look, that half-charred corpse. It's just where did that come from? As everyone looks away from Cinder intentionally. Yeah, I wonder where the ashes come from.
Good shit. Alright.
I mean, I think like with my relationship with Ivar, I think that with him in leadership, I think that like knowing what I did in the Expanse, the way I grew it and made it start to prosper, I think that that's something that can be beneficial in our land, and I would try to leverage that because he gains from it to try and get businesses that I own to be sort of tax-free.
Obviously, if Cinder's trying to extend into the country, obviously I won't fight it because it's Cinder. We're the Outriders, and Cinder basically did me a great deal. Although I've always expecting that as
Basically the mob that has the ear of the president.
Yeah. Hey Cinder, you want to be my economics advisor?
Well, that's all I need. He doesn't pay his tax.
Well, yeah. I'm trying to get tax-free in his area. I'm assuming if I work in Kudoks, I have to have a deal with him. But I'm going to try to expand into that too. I'll just need a much thicker ledger.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, hustling in on Kudok's territory might be a little bit dangerous, but alright. Good shit.
Well, yeah, like I that's why like at the beginning of the thing I said, well, I need allies, and I assume that I wouldn't be working completely under his nose. I think he'll see the benefit of what I'm doing.
Sure. Good shit. Alright, who's next? Who knows what they're going to be doing, the gist of it?
Well, I know what I'm doing. I don't know if you'll let me do it, but I know what I want to do.
What are the ladies are doing?
Ride a purple worm.
Ride a purple worm
I
into...
go to the Earth Plane and find the giant worm.
Name him Mayonnaise and make him eat the sun.
No, I'm gonna name him Tum Tum.
Oh, Tum Tum. And then make him eat the sun. And then watch Yolda cry as the sun is devoured.
I don't need to eat the sun, but I want to go to the Earth realm and try to find that worm.
Sure. I mean, you've been told that it is impossible, but you can certainly discover for yourself why.
I mean, all things are possible through Lannister, who strengthens everyone.
Sure. I mean, Lannister hasn't failed at anything yet, statistically.
That's true. It's true. I mean, when I need to roll a crit, I roll a crit.
He does. Yeah, he does.
I mean, that's the biggest thing I want to do, and if we're going to take the whole 5 months, I mean, are we just not doing the god thing, or are we just wait until after?
It's on my list, so I was going to bring it up.
I want to go...
Yeah, that might be the group movie night thing. I mean, hey guys, let's all get together.
And meet everybody, and be like, hey,
hey, how's it going? And shake their hand with Torm's gauntlet. Hey, how's it going? You want to shake my hand?
I mean, those are the two major things I want to do, and then like the last thing I want to do is just cut Costa's head off.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's a downtime activity.
Alright, we're back, and you guys are planning your armies against Karstev, but Lannister already...
Just cut his head right off, early, just preempt it, boom.
I got it!
I'd probably go to the Holy Lands though and like rub it in that one guy's face, Silver something.
Patriarch? He's already helping us.
I know, but like he was, being a bit of a snarky son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, and I can be like, my friend's a trade prince now, how do you feel now?
Well, be just,
My best friend is a trade prince, you wanna mess with us now? I got the Gauntlet of Thor. I lost my best friend. I got my giant tum-tum.
Oh, wait, yeah, literally. Silver Eye, I want to go talk to Silver Eye.
Alright, good deal. There we go. And Yoler Tum. We just lost somebody a second.
Tumman's dead.
Oh no.
Yeah, let me see if this works.
Yo, Nick.
You fall asleep. I'm sorry, Nick.
Up here.
He got passed out. Alright, Yolder.
Alright, so since he's asleep and he's not here, they're both just gonna tag along with me, so I have access to all of their power. No. So what I have here is Iron Wall Republic meeting up with Roland Ferrisbeard. That's literally like
It
2
works.
days.
Hi, Nick.
No, I think he's dead.
Then I gotta meet
Yeah, but
back
he's
up.
not an AFK anymore.
I dragged him up here from AFK.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, you baited me.
Get bamboozled. I gotta meet back up with
Heck.
Sasamim. I have Sasamim War Powers because she has a trick or two up her sleeve that she is offering, but behind closed doors. I think probably the wisest thing Yoda would think to do would probably try to get her somewhere in the leadership chain. I don't know. Seemed that was the perspective all of the other Jin had, but I guess we can just RP those negotiations or that conversation out during the week or something. So we'll get there.
Yeah.
After that, I'm gonna get real religious, and I know I've been pretty religious so far, but we're going full on fucking. All right, God.
You have 5 months. Just cast Divine Intervention every single week.
I want to, like, as much as I can, consult with my God now that I am the line to the divine, essentially, in the world. I need wisdom and I need help. I need advice. So it is ask God for direction and also ask about if he needs his heart back. It's also on my list. So I know there are limitations to the magic that lets you reach out to gods, but I can take it. I can cast it a lot. I can cast those spells a lot.
Hey, now, he just gave you his heart, so you better not on the very next day give it away.
In a way, I need to know if he needs it back. He didn't give it to me. Someone took it, and it was in hell. I need to know if he needs it back. After that, I want to strengthen and enhance the airship, and by that I mean finish the cannon project. That at least is going to be done because it took me forever to figure out how to make those work. So, if anything, that is the last thing I'll forge. I have shelved my other plans in the hopes that the next thing may make them not necessary. In big all capital letters, bold and italicized, God Realm. What is that? And I remember Toman had this sort of weird, like, time dilation problem, but he isn't here to answer the questions about, like, hey, I was in there for 5 minutes and it seemed like I was gone for a month. I don't remember if that was exactly how that shook out or what, because that'll kind of throw a huge wrench into being able to go there before Karseth instead of after Karseth. So gotta hash that out. And then once that's all taken care of, the cannons are spinning up and I have enhanced the airship with the 2 cores, strapped the tank to the underside of it. We're going to war, baby. That's all I got.
Alright, good deal. And I'm assuming Tobin is maybe also going to do God stuff. As it seems like, spoilers, Tobin has maybe delved into religion a little bit more than he used to. Especially being the first person to reach Elysium in who knows how long. Hundreds of years. So, good shit. We talking about this stuff over the break, hashing out details, figuring out what's going to do. If everybody's alright with it, depending on how downtime sort of goes and when people are doing what, 2 weeks from now, sounds like we'll probably have some sessions going to see some gods.
Oh, yeah.
If everybody's cool with that.
Yep. Obviously after I have my worm, and I just...
The one thing that our DM never wanted to do.
The one thing he wants to do. I have been picking up what he's been putting down for like months. He has been like, I don't know how much longer this game's gonna go. You guys are gonna go free the gods and then kill Karseth and fight some demons and it's over. Like, what was that about gods? What was that?
What was that about demons after killing Koisos?
I guess it's because, I guess when we were talking about it, we were low level, and that was the point.
Yeah, it is certainly something I'd never want anybody to do at level 7. But at level 20, if you have 3 clerics in the group and a paladin, used to have 3 clerics in the group, now sort of back to 3 clerics in the group and a paladin.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that 3rd cleric.
Talking about, I fought an Illithid Dreadnought at 5th level. It's perfectly normal. All right. Well, I thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Sounds like we're going to wrap it up here. I will keep you posted on any changes and updates to the schedule. Everything else seems to be moving as scheduled. Kingdoms of the South is still on for Tuesday, and Song of Rapture will be back with more action-paction. Actually, probably some more downtime, so buckle up for that this Thursday, and then break this Sunday as we hash things out behind the curtain, and then you get to see what it is we hashed out the following Sunday. But also before that week we'll have a session on Tuesday and Thursday. Everything looks to be moving full steam ahead, so I want to thank you all so much for being a part of our journey, and I hope you're enjoying it. This was episode 69, and too many more episodes until we get to the epic conclusion. Where that conclusion is, but hopefully it'll be cool. And knowing Brendan, it probably will. So be sure to catch it live next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Other games at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday and on Thursday. A big shout out to our sponsor, Arts and Coffee, who makes this move a lot smoother, at least for me. And every time that you reach out to them on artsandcoffee.com and use promo code LION10, you help support the channel and get a nice discount on some wonderful flavored coffees. So be sure to give them a look if you can.
Whoa.